Greetings. I'm Rax, or Madam Rax, as I'm called by submissives. This is the first in a series of videos in which I will discuss financial domination as an important and possibly necessary tool for psychological growth within the context of BDSM. And BDSM is an umbrella term used by those of us in the lifestyle, which encompasses power dynamics, specifically bondage, dominance, submission, and sadism and masochism. Financial domination, which I will now call FinDom, itself is a system of incentives and reactions, and the resulting effects. A financial dominatrix may engage in any of the following: monitoring client spending habits, making decisions regarding finances, creating their budgets, setting income goals, delving into their bank accounts to ensure a submissive isn't being dishonest about their financial transactions, doling out written tasks, requiring them to run errands, receiving gifts, wish list items, and cash tributes. A submissive may also pledge their allegiance to a dom and shower her with gifts and money indiscriminately. The practice does not inherently require this, however. It may be as high or low stakes as a submissive desires. As with any dynamic which requires a large amount of trust, there are possible benefits and concerns which I will address. In this video, I will note 4 key needs that FinDom fulfills. The first need FinDom fulfills is in providing a witness to the life of the submissive. Often the feeling that they've gained attention from a higher being, that is, the dom, is validating. There's also a feeling of providership, similar to the religious practice of tithing. The belief that they've contributed to a greater good. The element of fantasy is often apparent. The submissive sacrifices so his goddess can have a better life. Further, even suffering may be involved. The second need FinDom fulfills is engaging in perceived risky behavior to a positive end. Because there's an element of fantasy, i.e., I'm not actually an extortionist or blackmailer, it is considered more safe than a dangerous activity and therefore mitigates risk. The reward for the client is the satisfaction of the dom in receiving her money or gifts, which are often called tribute. Once the risky behavior is deemed successful, and the submissive is able to come out of the scary scenario relatively unscathed, you can then derive confidence to approach other areas of life, work, marriage, and other possibly stressful situations. The third need FinDom fulfills is the desire to relinquish control. In most societies, men are expected to maintain control and authority over their surroundings in many ways: remaining stoic, refusing vulnerability, advancing in their career, managing employees, and running their household. And because of this, there's an underlying fear of being incapable, a hidden fear of losing control. A dom may use humiliating words and phrases to get to this core fear, that the submissive isn't actually qualified to wield any power. His privilege is then challenged, and his control is transferred to her. She strips him of power and may become an executor of decisions. Her word is law. He feels at ease and liberated from responsibility, if only for an hour or 2 at a time. The fourth need FinDom fulfills is to incentivize the client's earning of more money. Giving a large tribute to a dom is at first considered gratifying, but slowly there's a realization of the amount spent. The stress response is the desired outcome for him, as self-induced fear sets in and the submissive considers how to recoup the funds that are displaced. He is therefore inclined to give more, but make more in order to do so. His underlying motivation is to make his income upwardly mobile. There are a few other points of interest that, through many years of financial domination, I have uncovered, but I do not consider them essential. FinDom exploits and subverts gender roles. Women have the power, the control, the ownership. Financial dominatrices are self-possessed and not dependent on any one or several clients for their power. Further, a dom may be rejecting of many submissives, and rejection is a compelling motivator, even among vanilla folks. And we use the term vanilla to describe the non-kinky people in our lives. Now that these needs have been discussed, it's worth noting that though a submissive may derive acknowledgement, validation, incentivization, encouragement, becoming more self-actualized, gaining a higher degree of self-control and confidence, and being freed from the shackles of tradition and expectation, there are potential situations which may occur that can be very damaging if not handled properly. A submissive may find himself duped out of his money. A dom may be unskilled, swindling, or even malicious. In fact, it may even turn out to be a man posing as a dom. This problem can be avoided by extensively screening potential doms and requiring validation to continue a dynamic. There are red flags: inconsistent photos, lack of continuity in writing or messages, unprofessional email addresses, and various other inappropriate non-dom activities. Another potential problem involves punishments. A submissive may find himself engaging in bad behavior and being punished too severely. Too much is taken from him. This may be avoided by setting initial limits with your dom, enacting a punishment dollar amount cap, setting upper limits until more trust is established, and the like. A very common issue is giving more to a dom than is financially wise or possible. In the heat of the moment, many submissives will promise ridiculously large sums to a dom, upwards of thousands, only to rescind the offers at a later time. Making large wish list purchases for her, buying extravagant gifts that he could never possibly afford, and then retracting those things. This can be avoided by being more realistic about your offerings. Smaller, consistent amounts are often better than giant tributes that may yield regret and then begging to have money refunded. Guilt and shame are intense feelings that partnered submissives particularly experience. The idea that they're giving money to an undeserving party, in contradistinction to their significant other, who by all accounts should be the target of gifts and money and attention. The best way to avoid this is by understanding yourself, your partner, reconciling guilty feelings with the psychological benefit you're achieving, and acceptance that the ability to submit may be as powerful a tool as a very expensive therapist. To conclude this introduction, FinDom is a necessary step for those who are looking to fulfill one of several key needs, or to gain the psychological benefits available to submissives. If done within the boundaries of risk-aware consensual kink, RAC, a principle that mitigates damage to a submissive, the list of concerns and possible problems is minimized as well. Follow my advice, and it should be smooth sailing, and you'll find your BDSM dreams can come true.